Ladies and gentlemen, this is a public service announcement. For regular viewers and listeners of AWI Pod, please do not be offended, as this program contains good wrestling.
It's my life in the box in front of me. Taking talk in my arms is the soul of me. You walk by, ask to see me lay face down.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of Warring to Attitude. This is the 32nd edition of where I and my co-host will war to Attitude. I'm your host, Brent Piles, of course, and with me, as always, he is from the future and across the ocean, or some such nonsense. I don't remember sometimes. He's the barroom brawling, disco dancing, dynamite stretching, intercontinental playboy. Folks, he's more over than Cobo Hall. I'm going to tie that back together later. Jay Russell, Glenn, how you doing?
I can just about breathe.
Yeah.
The heart is just working again now.
Good Lord.
Ah, dear. Why do we watch sports?
I don't know.
It does the health any good whatsoever if you support a team. No matter what the sport is, whether it be baseball, American football, soccer, basketball, anything.
Yeah.
Cricket, doesn't matter. If you support a team, it is not good for your health.
Even if your team wins a lot, like there's still a lot of stress going into that. Like I know, like Alabama football and college football over here wins all the time, but I'm sure those Alabama fans stress a lot over all those wins that they get.
Yeah.
I know I stress a lot about the wins Nebraska doesn't get, so you can only imagine. Only imagine. Yeah, if you don't know what we're talking about, me and Glenn just agonizingly watched Arsenal geek out a 2-1 victory over Seville, right? That's how you say it?
Seville.
I was close. In the Champions League, and we got 3 points, but it wasn't a fun ride, especially the last 7 minutes.
No.
Very stressful.
Anyway, something that isn't stressful, and that's the way there, is this Raw. This Raw was a bit of fun.
I definitely wouldn't say it was stressful. No, definitely not stressful at all. There wasn't too many backstage promos. It wasn't the backstage promo show like the week before, so that's nice. But yeah, so let's dig right into this thing. It is June the 23rd, 1997. It is from the Cobo Hall, which was a prominent arena in the Detroit, Michigan area. In the first 20 years of its existence, easy for me to say. It was the home court to the Detroit Pistons until 1978. Glenn, you've heard of the whole Nancy Kerrigan / Tanya Harding saga, correct?
Yes, yeah.
So, Glenn, this is the very arena
that
Nancy Kerrigan was attacked and clubbed in the knee during her practice for the U.S. Figure Skating Championships in 1994. Because I looked this up and I didn't look it up before, so I'm watching the show and they're like Cobo Hall, and I'm like, why is Cobo Hall ringing a bell? And then I read that, I'm like, oh, that makes no sense why I would know what Cobo Hall is. I'm sure I don't think there's anybody out there that doesn't know the story of Tanya Harding and Nancy Kerrigan. I don't think.
Well, you'd have to be living in a cave for years or be too young.
Right, or you'd have to be like 14 or something. Yeah, definitely. And they just had a movie not that long ago called I, Tanya, which was it was like based off a book written by Tanya and someone else, but it was about her. So she's been in the limelight forever. So I'm sure people know what that is. Also, this arena, pro wrestling wise, used to hold big time wrestling every Saturday night in the 60s and the 70s. It was considered to be the house the Sheik built. And when I'm talking about the Sheik, I mean the original Sheik, which was Sabu's uncle.
Yeah.
It also hosted a Saturday night's main event in March of 2006, which I didn't even know they were doing Saturday night's main events in 2006. Did you?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, me neither. So the main event of that show, Glenn.
Go on.
Shawn Michaels versus Shane McMahon in a street fight.
Ooh, that sounds suitably
Who do you
trash.
think won that match, Glenn?
Shane McMahon.
Shane McMahon won that match by submission. You're absolutely correct. The other big match that night was JBL versus Steve Austin, but it wasn't a wrestling match, Glenn. No, not a wrestling match. It was a beer drinking contest, and of course, Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Oh, we're gonna have to find that. That's gonna have to be a watch one night, isn't it?
Yeah, we're gonna have to check that out. Yeah. The Cobo Arena did end up closing in 2010, so there's no events to be had there. And there's your history from the Cobo Hall, where Nancy Kerrigan was hit in the knee and screamed, "Why? Why?"
Delilah.
Yeah. So we kick off the show, Glenn, with the New Nation. They're heading down to the ring.
This is a first. This is the first time in weeks that we haven't kicked off with Steve Austin.
It's either been Steve Austin or the Hart Foundation most weeks, with 70% being Steve Austin. So the Vince McMahon says he wants to talk to Ahmed first. He asked Ahmed Johnson why. Ahmed Johnson tells all the people to shut up before he comes out there and beats everybody up, all of them. Glenn, what do you think the odds are that he could have took out everyone in the Cobo Hall?
He's not got a very good record with wrestlers, so I don't know what to do with the fans.
Also, it's Detroit. Detroit's pretty fucking rugged. So I'm not saying Ahmed Johnson couldn't take out a good 15, 20 of them, because he could.
Oh, yeah,
and if the rest of the nation goes into the crowd with him, then they probably are fucked.
Yeah. Yes.
And then he says he tells Vince to ask himself why. He said, "You never backed me up. The fans never backed me up. The only person that ever backed me up was the crew." And he points to the Nation of Domination members. And I couldn't help but think, Glenn, at least one member of this crew has been beating your ass for the better part of a year. So when did he back you up?
I'm gonna say, the only time he backed him up was when he backed him up in a corner to hit him.
Precisely. So I found that to be very funny. He says he doesn't respect the Undertaker anymore, and I quote, "Because any man who listens to another man is a low down, stinking dog. So don't listen to another man ever." Even though, isn't Farouk the leader? His leader?
No.
Oh, you're right.
No. Apparently, there is no leader in the new nation.
Did they say that?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I must have missed that part. We didn't get to hear D'Lo talk for a bit. Very green on the mic, and you can tell that he's very green on the mic when he speaks.
Yes. No, we've got to start somewhere.
Right, exactly. I'm not like D'Lo Brown's eventually going to be, not a pretty decent promo and a pretty entertaining wrestler. He's just, he's got to work on it. And then this is my favorite part is when Ahmed Johnson tells Vince to fix his face. If you keep looking at us crossways, I'm going to make you wish you were never born.
Yeah, Vince had it. I'm panicking a bit here. I'm surrounded by big burly.
These men are telling me that I've been exploiting them for money, and I don't know what to do. Anyway, so then, Glenn, we get a surprise as four guys come riding down on their motorcycles to the ring.
Yeah.
One of them, of course, is Brother Crush, but he's not Brother Crush or Nation of Domination Brother Crush. He is riding motorcycles, Brother Crush now. He gets on the mic and does the whole "you couldn't fire me because I quit." Although we watched him fire you first, so he did fire you. Sorry, Crush, but you're wrong. He tells us that these guys are called DOA. They're called the Disciples of Apocalypse. They live together, Glenn. They ride together, Glenn. And you know what else they do together, Glenn?
I don't want to know.
They fight together, Glenn. And I don't want to know what else they do together. You're right. We wash each other's backs. I mean, no, we don't.
This lot have been together as long as the nation have had Ahmed Johnson's back.
For a week.
Yeah, if that. So 12
hours at least, Glenn. Yeah, Yeah, so then these guys start fighting. They get everybody out there to try to separate these guys. They can't. Eventually, they've got police officers out there to try to separate these guys. And eventually, they.
I saw a note on DOA, and it said DOA immediately got over as baby faces here because they had a cool look, but they lost all their matches and were truly DOA by the summer.
And we're going to be reliving that, I'm sure.
Yeah. We will.
So
Can't have it all good.
Yeah. So they kind of tell us what we're going to get on the show, which is Vader and the Undertaker will take on. It looks like they're going to be taking on Ahmed Johnson and Farouk, but then it ends up not being Ahmed Johnson and Farouk, as we'll get to.
Because during this segment, when they're brawling, Ahmed Johnson blows out his knee. He basically suffers a serious injury during a promo.
Right. During
you couldn't actually make it up, could you?
No, it's like just a pull apart between guys. And he's literally about to get like a big heel main event push because he was going to face the Undertaker at the pay-per-view for the title, and they have to switch that because he blew out his knee.
Yeah, basically it's the end of his career in WWF. I think you've seen a couple more times and then he's gone. So
yeah, then it'll become Big T.
Yeah.
And we'll also get LOD taking on the Godwins. We're also, Glenn, this is a historic night, I guess. The first triple threat match. This is where it all fucking started, Glenn. This is all this fucking match's fault, damn it. As Owen Hart defends the Intercontinental Championship against Triple H, Hunter Hearst Helmsley, and Goldust.
Why has they got Goldust on this?
Yeah, why is true? I don't even know. They just like came way out of left field.
Yeah, they could sell the Triple H thing because he's King Hunter, isn't he? So, but why did they chuck Goldust in on it and made it a triple threat? He's not done anything to justify it. Yeah,
and why would you have Hunter face fucking Owen Hart? That would be a heel versus heel match. I mean, which way you're gonna get the crowd's gonna cheer on Hunter because he's the American guy and they hate the Canadian. And that's not what you want to do. You want Hunter to be a heel. So it's just like a bad idea all around. I think they were just trying to throw something at the wall and see if it stuck here.
Yeah, you got basically everybody in the ring hating the crowd.
Right.
For one reason or another.
And that's not the point of wrestling.
No.
So Hawk and Animal do a promo, but they said like 10 words, so it's not enough.
They're just fond of chaos.
Yes, they love chaos. And then we cut to the ring, Glenn. And who could be in the ring, Glenn? The one and only.
Here we go. Let me remove my headphones.
Oh, come on. You know you love that song.
That was loud. Oh, it blew my eardrums.
That's what Rockabilly's theme music does. It blows your eardrums, Glenn.
Oh, God.
And Glenn, you want to talk about exciting. They have, joining them on commentary, Mr. Excitement himself, Dan Severn.
Yeah, Mr. Charisma.
Yeah. That's something.
Yeah. And on a show where things kept happening, shall we say, in an amusing way. This is the first one. The first one is Ahmed Johnson blowing out his knee during a promo. The second one is this, where they give him the big build-up, they let him talk, and you can hardly hear him because he's giving him a dodgy headset.
Well, and in fairness to him, not everything that he said made me want to go to sleep. So.
Yeah.
I'm sure Dan Severn, great fighter. He would murder me in a minute. I don't know how old he is now, but he would still murder me in a minute. I'm sure he's a great guy. I don't want to hear him speak on a microphone ever.
I think they realized their mistake as well. Because I'm sure that he was supposed to talk for longer because this match was very short.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that he was supposed to talk for longer than that. So we ended up with a segment with him talking, changing his headset, everything else, and the match all ending in 2 minutes and 40 seconds.
Well, in all fairness, though, Rockabilly is taking on the world's dangerous man, Ken Shamrock, and that's about how long he should last with Ken Shamrock.
Why is the world's most dangerous man coming to the ring in a silk salmon pink dressing gown? There was
I always wondered that too.
There was nothing more screams not dangerous than that dressing gown.
You know what though, Glenn, he's Ken Shamrock, and we weren't going to tell him not to do it.
Yeah, and I'm sure nobody backstage was either.
Hell no.
This is what my missus gave me to wear, and this is what I'm wearing. Okay, Ken, fine.
right. You just go ahead. Whatever. Yes, Ken, you can have my nightgown. It's fine. Take it. So like what I was surprised by is like Vince was like really putting over the UFC here.
Yeah.
And they were talking about how like no one's ever spent the night in the hospital after a UFC fight. No one's ever died after a UFC fight. And you can't say that for boxing. You certainly can't say it for pro wrestling. So they're making it sound like MMA is safer than wrestling in this.
Yeah.
Surprised me.
Yeah. They were obviously sucking up to the UFC even at this point. I'm sure people have spent time in hospital after a UFC fight. I've seen them be beaten to a bloody pulp.
Maybe not by that point, maybe because they hadn't been on for that long. But I know by now someone has definitely probably spent the night. At least I don't think anybody. I never heard of it. Not in a UFC fight, particularly. Maybe other forms of MMA, but I've never seen a UFC fight end in someone dying.
No,
that I've never seen.
No, they are very careful with what with their safety.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, Ken Shamrock gets the win after he hits a belly to back suplex and then an ankle lock for the tap out. Honky Tonk Man gets in the ring, looks like he's gonna try to hit Shamrock with the guitar. Shamrock sees him, and God fucking damn it, I wanted Ken Shamrock to throw Honky Tonk Man across the fucking ring, but he never did.
No, so it was sad, wasn't it? Yeah, it was sad.
At least hit him, God damn it. And then he goes over, him and Dan and Severn kind of have like a stare down, and then they end up just shaking hands and walking away.
Yep.
So yeah,
that was that.
I don't know. I know Dan Severn is going to be around in WWE at least in the year 1998-99, but I don't know what's going to happen going forward with this. But I guess it'll be interesting to see.
I can't remember him being around much in '97. So
yeah, I remember doing match with Owen Hart because I remember they have like a match in the dungeon.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, and that was like 98, 99, something like that.
Yeah, it was like I think you're right. 98, 99 sounds about right. Well, we're gonna find out, Glenn, because after he's right in 98. So
we'll keep going.
We then hear from the Godwins. They talk about how LOD accidentally broke Henry's neck. Henry says it didn't feel like an accident.
Just before that.
Oh, sorry, good.
We get an advert for the WWF magazine with bloody Vince Russo getting himself on camera talking about they're going to be discussing the relationship between Mark Mero and Sable.
Did they actually show you? Did they show Vince Russo on camera?
They did.
Really?
Yeah.
It must be different on the Peacock version because they talked about Vince Russo, but I didn't see him.
Yeah, it was very briefly, but he's getting his name out there.
Yeah, because I made the same note, but I don't know why I made it. I must have got it mixed up because I have it after the promo. But yeah, they're basically pushing more of this Mero being, jealous of Sable, and he's the jealous boyfriend. And then they definitely mentioned Vince Russo, bro.
Yeah, and plug in the bloody magazine.
Yeah. And then we hear from the Godwins, and Henry says, it didn't feel like an accident. And what happens to LOD tonight definitely won't be an accident because he's not stupid, and Phineas isn't stupid, and they're gonna do their own things their own way from now on. McMahon making us hog farmers.
Doesn't work.
I don't know, Glenn. I live in Nebraska, so hog farmers are over with me.
This bit of twisted heel hog farmers doesn't work.
No, they need a new gimmick if they're going to be heels.
Yeah.
I don't remember a good heel hillbilly. You know what I mean? I don't.
No. No.
There isn't one. So then, all right. So the Godwins, they've still got their slot buckets too as they head down to the ring. They actually saw like a slowed down replay of Henry getting that doomsday device, and man, he did land right on the fucking top of his head. He landed right on his fucking head.
He did, yeah. That did look painful.
Yeah, it was hard to watch, definitely. So LOD comes down to the ring, and they get to the ringside area, and the Godwins are kind of waiting for him there, and they just chuck the slop all over LOD.
Yeah, not a good move.
Not one that I would make, no.
It didn't put them off at all. It just pissed them off.
Yeah, because then LOD just started beating the shit out of them, basically, right after that. And then they also inform us during this match that Ken Shamrock has been attacked in the back by the Hart Foundation as well. So,
yeah, of course. At least we're not seeing all this backstage stuff now.
Yeah, true.
You know, a few weeks ago, they would have cut to a bathroom somewhere with the Hart Foundation attacking him.
Right.
But at least they're just talking about it now. Talking about stuff. Another stupid move by the new heel Godwins is you would think that the last thing that Henry O. Godwin would do to Hulk is try to pile drive him and expect it to end well.
It's almost as if none of these guys have ever seen an LOD match ever.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, why would you continue to do it? That'd be like, let's say a football game, and this is from my childhood, but not to throw to the right side when you play the fucking Dallas Cowboys because Deion Sanders is over there.
Yeah.
But they just keep throwing it over there. Every time. It keeps getting picked off, but they just keep chucking it over there.
Is that anything? Why? No, you don't try and do an impact move on the LOD and expect them to sell it.
Right.
The same as you don't expect if you headbutt a Samoan that they're going to sell it.
Yeah, not going to work.
No, they just laugh at you.
Exactly. Things break down a little bit.
Again,
go ahead.
This is another amusing cock up where I'm not even sure that the LOD knew that the Godwins were going to do it. It's because they went for the what they called it, doomsday device.
Yeah.
But one of the Godwins, they've got Henry in the ring. So Phineas, whatever he is.
Yeah.
Right. He sort of gets up on the apron and knocks Hulk off the turnbuckle. Or makes him lose his footing.
Yeah.
So they don't do the doomsday device. So they get really pissed off. And Hulk comes off the top with it's supposed to have been a flying clothesline. But he's flapping his arms around so much, I don't know whether he hit the Goblin on the top of the head, in the face, or on the chest.
Yeah, maybe all three. I don't know.
Yeah, it could have well been all three. So basically, they get the pin, but it wasn't exactly smooth, should I say?
No, it was definitely very clunky. Right after the match, the Hog Farmers get their buckets and they start beating up Hawk. Animal gets a chair, clears the ring, but then as soon as they get out of the ring, here comes the Hart Foundation. They get in the ring, they start beating up on Animal. They get the chair, they hit him a few times with the chair. The crowd was going insane during all this. Like, people were going fucking nuts. But yeah, so that's the LOD wins, and they're gonna move on in this tag team tournament, I suppose, and they're gonna face the winner of the. I don't even know. I don't know the standings of this fucking tag team tournament. I don't even care. I don't know. I don't care. But the Hart Foundation is clearly going around just attacking anyone who's
Anybody.
anybody who's up against them at the Canadian Stampede. Yeah. We then hear from The Undertaker and Paul Bearer. Vince asks Taker at what point is he going to snap. The Undertaker tries to answer, but Paul Bearer tells him to shut up. It's all about him. The Undertaker eventually gets sick of this and starts choking Paul Bearer's ass. And then Vader comes charging out of nowhere. The Undertaker grabs him, starts choking him as well. And Paul Bearer starts saying, "Remember the fire, remember the fire." And then the Undertaker lets him go. So now we add another layer to this onion here. Because what fire is he talking about? You know what I mean?
Exactly. What could he possibly be talking about?
What fire could he be talking about? But yeah, so then we get another promo. This time it's Owen Hart. He's complaining about how he has to have a triple threat match tonight. He goes on and on about how it's unfair. He says, but don't worry because he's got a big surprise.
He said he's disgusted.
He did say, yeah. Very
disgusted. Having to defend his title with a triple threat match.
I don't blame him. I'm with Owen on this one. I'm disgusted too.
See, that's the reaction you would get from the champion. Not the NXT thing of the champion going, well, there's two of you there. I'll fight you both.
Right. I have to prove myself by beating 7 guys. I got to do it.
No.
That once. They then show like a disclaimer video for the new Stone Cold Steve Austin Stone Cold Said So video coming out,
which makes me want to find it more than ever.
Yeah, I'm gonna splice it in. I'm gonna splice the video of that in here right now so everybody else can get a look at it just like we do because I think it's on YouTube, Glenn, and I think I'm gonna watch it. So let's look at that.
I think everybody out there knows my name is Stone Cold Steve Austin. And out of this video, if you're looking for someone running around dancing to a bunch of sparklers and music, you bought the wrong damn video. What you are going to see is my favorite picks, some of the action from some of the hottest matches I've been in, rare interviews, and a lot of violence and some language problems. So if that offends you, you might as well push the stop button right now.
And I want to buy that VHS tape, even though nobody has a VCR anymore. Glenn, you still got a VCR?
No.
I didn't think you did. So then,
I remember the first one we got. It was the size of a small suitcase. And the buttons on it, the sort of the buttons were press down buttons. But you know, like the kids sort of Fisher Price toys and that sort of thing.
like a tape recorder.
Yeah, there's the big buttons on it. Well, the buttons like that, and it was state of the art at the time.
I remember people you'd get a TV VCR combo, and that was a big fucking deal because your TV had a VCR.
The trouble with those is if one or the other broke down, you were fucked.
Yep. not only were you had 2 in one, but then you had shit if they both broke.
Yeah.
I mean, if one broke, you had shit. Yeah, you're right. You're right. We're gonna start another show where we talk about old household appliances. I'm just kidding. We didn't get a promo from Flash Funk, but he said a bunch of things that didn't make no goddamn sense.
Yeah, he did.
I don't know what he was talking about. I really don't. I have no idea.
That was a case of we need a promo for one of these two, and it's certainly not going to be Sabu.
Yeah, somebody's got to sell this. Yeah. Paul E. Dangerously, aka Paul Heyman, is on commentary for this match because it is Flash Funk versus Sabu, and Sabu comes down to the ring with Bill Alfonso, and I really like that they acknowledge that Bill Alfonso used to be a referee in WWE too. I thought that was cool. Yeah, I'm a big referee guy, as you know, Glenn. And then they show like a video package of Sabu doing a bunch of crazy shit. In ECW.
Yeah, which he's still doing to this day.
Yeah, he hasn't stopped. Yeah, no, it still goes on. I thought it was nice though because like they say this is the house that his uncle built, and he got to have a match in this arena, which is pretty cool for him. I would assume, being from the Detroit area. It doesn't take long as Sabu starts looking for tables immediately.
Paul Heyman here was brilliant. You know, he's not only talking about ECW, but he's having a pop at WCW as well at the time, going on about how he discovered the Public Enemy and they were in ECW, and now Eric Bischoff's taking the credit for them on WCW. And Bischoff's just sitting there, okay, go ahead. You're going to diss the opposition, feel free.
Yeah, we didn't have to pay this guy to say this stuff. I love him.
Yeah.
Put him on every week, pal. I mean, so like compared to everything else in the show, this match was a hell of a lot of fun to watch. It was like modern wrestling almost.
It was. Well, you got two guys that are good at their business.
A lot of high flying stuff. You guys were flying all over the place. Flash Funk hit a top rope moonsault for a 2 count. Sabu has Bill Alfonso set up a table on the outside of the ring, and I thought it was hilarious that as soon as they set up the table and put Flash on the table, the referee immediately called for the bell.
Yeah.
As soon as he touched the table.
Yeah. We're not having any of that here.
But then Sabu tries to jump off the top springboard through the table. Doesn't work. He tries to jump on the table again. Doesn't work. And then finally he hits a springboard leg drop and is finally able to break this table.
Yeah. I love Paul Heyman said, "Didn't you saw through that?"
It was a super thick table. You know, like tables these were like this thin. That shit was like that.
It was. And even when he finally got it to collapse, it didn't really go from the top. It was the legs that gave way.
Yeah, the legs broke. Yeah. Yep. They've been recapped last week of Mankind trying to get Stone Cold Steve Austin to be his tag team partner, and I feel like this is the perfect time to remind everyone that Mankind, in fact, does have a nice ass. I just want to make sure that everybody is knowing and aware of that. All right?
Yep.
Had to be said. The next match is the British Bulldog taking on Mankind, which this is fun because this isn't a match that I would have thought ever took place.
No, I couldn't remember this one. But I love they're talking about how the European title was the first new one introduced since 1979. Sort of giving it a bit of significance, although there isn't any significance to it.
Right, it's been defended. They didn't tell us it's been defended 3 times since he
won it
9 months ago.
Yeah, that's it.
And as we go on, I don't think there's like one marquee European Championship match, and other than that, I don't think they did anything with that title. It was almost like a waste of having a title.
Yeah.
So Mankind comes to the ring. He's got Austin 316 shirt on, and he has a sign around his neck reading "Pick Me, Steve." He then gets on the microphone and says he is dedicating this match to the toughest SOB in the WWF, his friend, Stone Cold Steve Austin. He even is wearing the sign around his fucking neck as the match starts. He doesn't even take it off when the match starts.
No. This is so good, though, because Dave is not having to hold back. Basically, Mick's gone to him. You hit me as hard as you want. I don't care.
Yeah, exactly.
Which, if you get somebody in the ring with Mick Foley that can do that and do it safely, then you get good matches from them.
Yep, absolutely. We also get Stone Cold Steve Austin on the phone during this match, and one thing that he said that I thought was really funny. He says, "Hey, I want to say hi to my brother who got his foot stepped on by a bull. He got stepped on by a bull yesterday, and I don't want to send him any well wishes or anything. I just want to say that he owes me $40 and he needs to pay up."
I love the fact that he phoned. He didn't suddenly materialize on the Titantron or anything.
Yeah,
like they do. It was it sounded like a proper phone call.
Yeah, and like they do this a lot, but sometimes it like takes away what's going on in the match. And I don't think this really took away what was going on in the match because they were talking a lot about Mankind, so it added to what was going on in the match. I thought.
Yeah, that was the other thing. He gets a Vince McMahon and he said, if you're gonna call me again, don't call me collect. I'm not paying next time."
yeah. He says he doesn't want Mankind as the tag team partner. He'll defend the titles for himself if he has to, and then he closes the conversation by, "If you call me collect one more time, McMahon, and I'm gonna whoop your ass." Oh yeah. So a decent match. Bulldog throws Mankind into the steel steps. He suplexes him on the ramp. He goes for the running power slam, but Mankind like locks in the mandible claw from behind. But Bulldog then low blows Mankind that's going to be the DQ. He goes out and gets a chair as well, hits Mankind with it a couple times.
I've got the note here that Mankind did an superb DDT.
Oh yeah, the double arm DDT.
Yeah,
not
easy on a big man like Davey Smith.
No, definitely not. Yeah, this is around the time where I think he might start. Well, I guess he uses the man up claw for a while as his finisher, but I know he does start using that double arm DDT as a finisher too. So yeah, he keeps hitting. He hits him in the face a couple of times in the head. Then Bulldog starts flexing to the crowd, but then Mankind comes up from behind him and puts the mandible claw on Bulldog again. But Bulldog is able to fight his way out of the ring. And then Mankind leaves to a huge reaction for the crowd. So, I mean, he's solidified as a babyface at this point.
Yeah. Those chair shots to the head, though, although, he's still around and he, still virtually compass mentis. It still makes you look back on it and cringe. Didn't cringe at the time, but now looking back on them.
Yeah, knowing what you know now about head injuries, when you see stuff like that, it does make you go, ugh.
Oh, yeah.
Which is why I can't watch a Chris Benoit match, because every time I watch, I'm like,
especially that diving head.
Yeah, like,
God.
I mean, obvious reason it's hard to even look at him, but then when you see him do stuff like that, you're just like, oh God. But yeah, so they cut back to the ring. Where all three guys with a three-way match. Where all the guys from the three-way match are talking with Gorilla Monsoon. Owen Hart is insisting because China and Marlene are out there, he wants to bring Pillman with him, and Gorilla Monsoon keeps telling Owen Hart that it's fine, but Owen just keeps insisting.
Okay, yeah, fine. Do what you like. I don't care.
Well, you're not listening to me. I want Brian Pillman out there with me, because if she gets to come and he gets to come too.
Yeah, fine, no problem.
But you're not listening. What I want is Brian Pillman to be by my side out there for the match tonight.
Yeah, it's great. A Gorilla is so good at deadpan in those sort of situations, like he used to with Bobby Heenan.
Yeah, it was really funny. I enjoyed that a lot. Owen Hart cracks me. I don't know if it's supposed to crack me up, but it does.
Yeah, I think that knowing what we know now about Owen Hart, I think secretly, yes, we are supposed to crack up.
Yeah, know what you know now. You can watch a lot of things from back then and go, oh, he's fucking with us right now.
Yeah. It's a case of, if you find this funny, you get the joke.
And then they even give us like a rich history of the Intercontinental Championship, about some of the former champions that have held it and all the title wins or whatever.
Yeah.
But then we get the whole restart of the show with the music and the pyro. And then they tell us Pat Patterson's going to be a special guest referee for this match. He's got no referee shirt, though.
I bet the TV company was going mad at this, because with the back and forward between Gorilla and Owen, and then them doing a recap of the Intercontinental thing, this took this into about 1 hour 15 minutes into the show before they did the second hour.
Yeah. So Hunter Hearst Helmsley makes his way down to the ring, and they show how he won the Intercontinental Championship from Mark Marrow. And then they show us Goldust beating Razor Ramon for the Intercontinental Championship. And then Owen Hart comes to the ring with Brian Pillman, and they show him beating Rocky Maivia to become the Intercontinental Championship a couple of months before this. And I was actually, I don't know why I was surprised, but I thought that Owen had won the Intercontinental Championship before that, but that was his first Intercontinental Championship win.
Yeah, I can't remember. I don't, apart from tag titles, I don't think he'd actually won anything before that.
Yeah, I think the only thing was the tag team championships with Yokozuna and the tag team championships with Davey. I think that's the only thing you'd won up until that point.
I think that's why they just kept on giving him the Slammies as a consolation prize.
And then, well, I didn't even give him some of them; he just stole them.
Yeah,
yeah. So, I mean, this one was interesting to say the least because it's the first ever triple threat match.
Yeah.
And the thing about this one was there wasn't, you throw one guy out of the ring, he takes a piss for 10 minutes, and then he comes back in, another guy goes and takes a piss. Everybody was in the ring.
Yeah. Which is basically how it should be. Especially if you're the champion, you don't leave that ring because you don't want anybody getting up to any shenanigans and pinning somebody while you're having a kip under the ring or something, do you?
Right. Owen and Hunter kind of team up a little bit. They're beating down Owen. I mean, Goldust a couple times in this match. Hunter goes for a pedigree, and Owen Hart's kind of like, yeah, do it. But then he hits a spinning heel kick on him. And then they've done this a lot lately, and I feel like they do it a lot with Goldust. Goldust hits the curtain call, gets the 3 count, but Owen's foot is on the ropes.
Yeah.
So, because didn't they do that with the European Championship a couple weeks ago?
They did. They did.
And so Pillman's trying to tell the referee no, but Patterson's pretty insistent. He won't hear it until finally Gorilla Monsoon comes down. They show the replay, and then we go to a break and come back, and the match has been restarted.
Yeah. A bit pointless, really.
Yeah, I didn't understand why they had to do all that, unless they just had to do they just wanted to do a commercial during this match and didn't want to be. I don't know. I didn't get it. It didn't make any sense.
VAR break.
Yeah, this was of course clunky because I don't even think the guys knew what to do. And sometimes I don't think they even knew what to do.
Well, no, because it's you say it's the first time it was ever done, so nobody had ever any idea of what they're supposed to be doing, really.
Yeah.
Considering that you've got 3 of the best
right
in the business at that time in the ring. Hunter's well warming into what he's doing, and Owen and Dustin Runnels or whatever he was called in WCW before he came to WWE.
Call him Natural.
Yeah, the natural Dustin Rhodes. That's it.
Natural as can be. They call him the Natural. Just come Sorry, once I start singing it, I have to.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, they're experienced enough that they should know what they're doing, but it's a new concept, so it was strange.
Definitely strange. Owen hits a double drop kick from the top rope, a spinning heel kick on Goldust, almost gets a 3 count, but Hunter breaks it up. Hunter and Owen are brawling outside the ring. Pillman gets involved, and then China gets in the ring and hits a Hurricane Rana on Goldust, which was pretty fucking impressive.
Yep.
Things really started to pick up. Owen hits an Enziguri on Hunter, and then Goldust tries to come off the top rope to try to break up the pin, but Owen moves. Goldust lands on Hunter, and then Owen pushes Goldust off and pins Owen. Pins Triple H and gets the victory to retain the Intercontinental Championship.
Still used to this day in triple threat matches.
Yep.
That finish.
I mean, they did almost that exact finish in the triple threat match at SummerSlam. I mean, Charlotte had Charlotte had somebody in the figure 8, and then Bianca come off the top rope with the 450, and then she pinned her. So I mean, it's essentially the same thing.
It is, yeah.
Then we go, and then after that we go to commercial, and then they come back, and Bret Hart is making his way down to the ring along with Jim the Anvil Neidhart. They're gonna do an in-ring promo with Vince McMahon. Vince asked them about the 5-on-5 match at In Your House Canadian Stampede. He says that the LOD think they're the greatest tag team in WWF history, and Bret says not, because him and Neidhart are the greatest tag team in WWF history. And like you could say the Royal Rumble is the greatest tag team in wrestling history, but I don't think you could say WWE history because they just didn't spend enough time there.
Exactly.
In my humble opinion.
Yeah. No, it's that's a good point. But the Hart Foundation were around a lot longer than LOD in the WWF.
Exactly. And when,
there is a big argument to say that they were the best tag team in the WWF.
They'd be in my top 5, maybe even top 3 if I made one. Yeah. He also says that Ken Shamrock comes from the Ultimate Fairy Championship, which I don't know if I don't. That's probably something you wouldn't say in 2023. You know what I mean?
No, he wouldn't. No.
He says, as far as Goldust and Marlena go, he says if he's got 4 sisters, and they'll tear Marlena apart if she even tries to touch the British Bulldog again. He also calls Stone Cold Steve Austin the scum of the earth, and he says justice is coming, and that justice is the Hart Foundation. He then starts calling out a certain person in the crowd, which is boxer Thomas Hitman Hearns. You're familiar with this guy, Glenn?
Oh, very familiar. I've stayed up many a late night watching these fights.
Yeah, one of the greatest boxers of all time, old Thomas Hitman Hearns. Vince points him out in the crowd, and Brett says there's only room for one Hitman, and he's standing in the ring right now. He invites Hearns to get into the ring to fight because he stole Brett's name. Brett says he doesn't think Hearns is the Hitman. He thinks he's the Chicken Man, which, wow, Brett, you really dug deep in the creative bag for that one, didn't you?
He's just so bad at promos, and yet they let him run with these things.
And then Hearns jumps in the ring. They kind of have like a go back and forth. Brett starts to take his jacket off. Neidhart kind of like back Brett off. He turns around. Hearns hits him a couple times, knocks him down, gets into Brett's face, but eventually people tear them apart, of course, as it goes.
I think that's a case of we can't be sure how worked his punch is going to be. So, Jim, you better take it rather than have Brett damaged again.
Yeah, exactly. We can't have him gone for another month. We get to live without you. Yeah, so a big pull apart here. I don't know if WWF is like promoting a Thomas Hearns fight because I knew they did promote some fights in 1997.
Yeah.
So maybe that's what they did this for, but I don't think we're going to see anything more go on with it. So I don't know. We didn't hear from the Nation Domination, but as soon as Farouk starts talking, Savio Vega, who is maybe the dumbest man alive, marches into the Nation of Domination's locker room and gets in Farouk's face and then tries to fight him, which isn't the best idea because they didn't start beating the shit out of him as they would because it's 3-on-1 and whipping him with a belt.
Yeah, as you would.
I guess.
Again, something else that doesn't really work in this day and age.
Yeah, probably not. Yeah, not something that you would do nowadays. And then, Glenn, we got a battle of Too Cool before they were too cool. It is Don't Call Me Scotty Too High versus Just Call Me Sexay Brian Christopher, but don't call me Grandmaster Sexay just yet.
Yeah.
There's more of them pushing the light heavyweight division, I think, and also they're doing a big back and forth between. That's Lawler's son and him pushing back that. Oh well, how do you know that? And blah blah blah. That's basically all this was about.
That's it. It was, yeah. Yeah, it's to get them a bit of TV time, really.
Yeah. I mean, we saw this last week too with the Fantastic guys battling each other.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Brian Christopher gets the win with a top rope leg drop, defeating his soon-to-be tag team partner, Scott Taylor. And then one more time, we hear from Paul Bearer before the main event. Vince asks him about what happened. What does Remember the Fire mean? And he tells Vince not to worry about it, that everything's going to be fine, and we're going to go to the ring as a team.
Yeah.
And so the main event comes up. It is The Undertaker and Vader battling what I thought was going to be Farouk and Ahmed Johnson, but Ahmed Johnson tore up his knee, so now it's going to be D'Lo and Farouk.
And of course you'd pick D'Lo over Kama Mustafa. You've just got this big brute in, so you pick the small guy instead as your tag partner.
I was a little surprised that it wasn't Kama. to be honest.
Especially against the Undertaker and Vader.
Right.
The idea was it was going to be 4 big meaty men.
Right.
Now, D'Lo's not exactly small by our standards, but he's not big in under the standards of the Undertaker, Vader, or Farouk.
Right. And Kama Mustafa pinned the Undertaker last week.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he pinned the champion last week.
But obviously, that didn't impress Farouk enough for him to have him as his tag partner.
I guess not. Yeah. They tell us during this that the Undertaker will defend his WWF Championship against Ahmed Johnson at Canadian Stampede, but that's not going to happen because Ahmed is injured. They show him in the back watching, seething, it seemed. So Undertaker starts with D'Lo, takes control early. D'Lo starts to fight back. DOA eventually makes their way down to ringside. They start brawling with the Nation. Somehow none of this ends in a disqualification.
No.
The best part about it was the Undertaker leaving the ring and beating up just anybody who was in the way.
Yeah. Anybody got a big punch.
Yeah, anybody that was standing in the way, the Undertaker was punching.
And I'm sure some of those weren't exactly worked either.
Probably not, no. So Vader hits a Vader bomb on D'Lo, but Farouk breaks up the pin. The Undertaker is basically just on the apron, just arguing with Paul Bearer the entire time. He's not focusing on the match at all. He's just arguing with Paul Bearer. Vader eventually gets sick of this. He walks over there, kind of says something. The Undertaker pushes him a little bit. The Undertaker just like punches him right in the face. And then Vader turns around and gets a big clothesline by Farouk. And then that's the 3 count. And Farouk and D'Lo win. Of course, Paul Bearer is very upset by this, screaming at Taker after the match. Taker basically tells Paul Bearer to piss off and just walks away. Vader tries to attack the Undertaker, but that doesn't work because he picks Vader's big ass up and gives him a tombstone for his troubles. Taker then looks like he's going to go after Paul Bearer, but Paul takes off. The Undertaker leaves the ring. Paul Bearer then gets on the mic and tells Taker, "Look, you turn around when I'm talking to you, and you've made your casket." He hasn't made his bed. He's made his casket.
Yeah.
And next week, he's going to tell the whole world the secret, and that's going to be it. The Undertaker gives Paul the throat slash and the rolling of the eyes, leaves the arena as Paul Bearer is like screaming at the camera. So next week should be interesting.
Yeah. Earlier on when I was making my notes and everything, and then, I checked with Scott's blog of doom as well,
Yes.
what they say. And he said, who would have thought that removing Ahmed would make a match so much worse?
I didn't see that coming.
No. True though.
True words have never been spoken. So yeah, that's it. What do you think, Glenn? Is this up or down for this one?
It's a 1.5.
I think you're right. Yeah.
Good solid show. Spoiled, unfortunately, by Ahmed Johnson's injury and the way they ended it.
Yeah, and not any particularly good wrestling matches on this show.
No, but no bad ones either. Nothing that really you think, oh God, no.
Yeah, nothing that made you want to fast forward. Yeah, definitely. Well, Glenn, that's it for this episode. Who do we need to plug before we get on out of here?
Well, the lads at UTT, just to messaging them. DDT with DC and Doc. Andy Bang Bang, he's now back recording with Steve, his original partner. So they've got the original lineup of Bang Bang podcast back. I believe that the Doctor Who podcast is in production at the moment, so that'll be coming out soon as well.
Make sure you give all those fine folks a listen, and make sure you check out Sports Wire Radio and give our buddy Thomas Bryce a follow on all the social medias that you have. Twitter, Threads. We're on Threads. If you want to follow AWI Pod again, we're no longer on Twitter, but I am on Threads. So follow me on Threads at AWI Pod. Follow us on Instagram, of course, where you can see all my beautiful action figures that I buy, and we post stuff about the show on there all the time. Make sure you check out I don't know shit. The Life and Times of Psycho said, give that a check out on YouTube. We watched him destroy some jobbers this week and found out how much he hates fucking broomsticks. And also check out part 2 of our Halloween Havoc show. And we'll tell you all about how much we fucking hate Van Hammer. And I just want to say it again, put that out there. Van Hammer, if you're hearing the sound of my voice, fuck you. That's it, Glenn. I don't think we have any more things to plug, do we?
I think that's it.
That's all we got. So now all we got to do is for Glenn to say goodbye.
Goodbye.